Hello friends, good afternoon to all of you. So friends, UPSC has conducted its mains examination and today we have done with GS paper 1. So friends, in today's discussion, let's try to go with the basic discussion with respect to the nature of the question paper that has been asked in UPSC 2026 mains examination. So friends, in this discussion, let us try to have a basic view about the nature of the question paper and the sectional division that has been given in the paper 1, and let's try to have basic discussion with respect to the approach to the questions, how we can approach the basic answers for that. So first, if you just look from the basic nature of the question paper is very doable thing and it's moderate in nature. So where if you systematically prepare for the basic concepts which have been systematically mentioned in the syllabus, so most of the questions can be done. And mild application is available, so that can be doable and that can be possible for every aspirant. So friends, let's try to have a glance of the questions that has been asked from sectional manner. So first, if we start with the history section, friends, out of 20 questions, there were total 6 questions has been asked, and these amounts to around 75 marks. This is one of the important thing that you should keep in mind. The next important thing, if we just check from the geography of the world and India section, so there were 8 questions has been asked and which amounts to almost around 100 marks. So friends, this is one of the important update that you have to keep in mind, that geography has got good weightage in this particular paper. Then next, if we see from the society and social issues section point of view, total of 6 questions has been asked, and out of that, so 75 marks were been allocated for the society section. So friends, this is the basic sectional division that we can see in GS paper 1 of this particular mains. So in this discussion, let's go with the basic each section and let's try to see the nature of the questions and the basic approach, how we can approach to this, and we can have this subject specific faculties will be coming and will be just explaining you the basic approaches. So stay tuned with SRIRAM's IAS YouTube channel for the coming up, say 45 minutes and to 1 hour, then you can just get the basic approach. So just I invite Anand sir, so please come here and take over the history section.
Thank you, sir. I need the mic, please.
Yes, just a minute.
Hi, everyone. First of all those, I'm sure people who have given this examination, they are not watching this because they must be preparing and they must be probably already in the examination hall for the GS paper 2. So this section, this analysis is meant for people. It is also meant for those who are in the process of appearing. This will give you an idea of what kind of questions to expect from UPSC. As Suresh sir very rightly pointed out, there are 6 questions here from history, and we have to look at them. Let's start. So there were 3 questions in section A, 10 mark each, and there were 3 questions in section B, 15 mark each. जैसा तुम्हें मालूम है, 10 नंबर के क्वेश्चन में तुम्हें 150 वर्ड की लिमिट में लिखना है, और 15 नंबर के क्वेश्चन के लिए you have to write in the word limit of 250 marks. आइए एक बार देखते हैं. Before getting into individual questions, I should tell you probably, वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री से एक भी क्वेश्चन नहीं है. पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस हिस्ट्री से 2 क्वेश्चंस हैं 15 मार्क के. So these are certain trends that you can probably keep in mind. आओ देखते हैं बेटा. तो पहला क्वेश्चन जो है, analyze the importance of Ashokan inscriptions for reconstructing Mauryan history. ये सिलेबस में एंशियंट इंडिया मौर्यन आर्किटेक्चर का टॉपिक है, जहां से ये क्वेश्चन बनाया गया. It is asking you, once again read it, analyze the importance of Ashokan inscription for reconstructing Mauryan history. जिन लोगों ने पढ़ाई कर रखी है मुझसे या किसी भी काबिल टीचर से, they can vouch for this topic भाई कि ये तो हमने कवर कर रखा है. राइट जितने भी तुम्हारे अशोकन इंस्क्रिप्शंस हैं, दे गिव अस अ लॉट ऑफ वैल्यूएबल इंसाइट इनटू द टाइम्स. दे गिव अस इंसाइट अबाउट द सोसाइटी ऑफ दैट टाइम, economy of that time, the cultural milieu of that time, and they also give you a lot of information about the administration of time. मतलब मौर्य काल के समय मौर्यन साम्राज्य की बाउंड्रीज, फ्रंटियर्स कहां थी से लेकर के इनके एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑफिसर्स कौन कौन से थे, अशोक की फॉरेन पॉलिसी क्या थी, अशोक का धम्म क्या था, ये सारी चीजें हमें पता चल जाती हैं अशोकन इंस्क्रिप्शन से. अच्छा देखो, याद रखो ये यूपीएससी है, इन्होंने कहा है एनालाइज द इंपॉर्टेंस. तो तुम केवल इंपॉर्टेंस बता के रुको मत. इंपॉर्टेंस तो बताना आसान, इट्स अ डायरेक्ट स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन, बट यहां पे ज्यादा नंबर उसको मिलेगा जो केवल अशोकन एडाइट्स पे रिलाय करने की लिमिटेशन भी बता पाए. यू गेट माई पॉइंट. तुम्हें यह तो बताना होगा कि भाई हमें बहुत अच्छी इंफॉर्मेशन मिल रही है, लेकिन तुम्हें यह भी बताना होगा कि यार ये अशोकन इंस्क्रिप्शंस जो हैं ये एक लिमिटेड पर्पस के लिए लिखवाई गई थी. अगर हम केवल इन पर रिलाय करेंगे तो हमारी अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द टाइम इनकंप्लीट होगी. हमें मदद अर्थशास्त्र से भी लेनी पड़ेगी, हमें मदद मैगस्थनीज की इंडिका से भी लेनी पड़ेगी, हमें मदद उस समय के आर्कियोलॉजिकल सोर्सेस से भी लेनी पड़ेगी. अगर तुमने इतनी बात लिख दी तो आई कैन गारंटी यू दैट यू कैन इजीली स्कोर मोर देन 60% इन दिस क्वेश्चन वेरी इजीली. आई वुड स्ट्रांगली रिकमेंड कि तुम थोड़ा सा याद करने की कोशिश करो कि अशोक के बड़े बड़े एडाइट्स क्या हैं. वो अगर लिख दोगे तो तुम्हें ज्यादा नंबर मिलेंगे. थोड़ा ज्यादा अगर डेटा दे पाओगे तो उसका फायदा मिलता है, खासतौर पे हिस्ट्री में तो मिलता है यार, इसको डिनाई नहीं किया जा सकता है. बोलो क्या बात मेरी समझ में आई सभी को भाई? पहला क्वेश्चन इस तरह से मैनेजेबल है. अशोकन इंस्क्रिप्शन से हमें हिस्ट्री के बारे में उनकी पता चलता है, बहुत सारी चीजों के बारे में पता चलता है, लेकिन उसकी लिमिटेशन भी है. दिस इज द टोन ऑफ योर आंसर दैट आई वांट यू टू राइट ऑन. ओके चलो आओ अब जरा सा सेकंड क्वेश्चन भी देखते हैं यार. सेकंड क्वेश्चन है तुम्हारा मॉडर्न इंडिया से, और यह डील कर रहा है कॉलोनियल एजुकेशन एंड रोल ऑफ इंग्लिश से. तो जितना भी तुमने एंग्लिसिस्ट ओरिएंटलिस्ट कंट्रोवर्सी पढ़ी है और तुमने पढ़ा है इस चीज के आसपास, वो तुम्हें हेल्प करेगा. आओ क्वेश्चन पढ़ते हैं. डिस्कस द इंपैक्ट ऑफ मैकॉलेज मिनट. मैकॉले मिनट 1835 में आया था. तो डिस्कस द इंपैक्ट ऑफ मैकॉलेज मिनट ऑन कॉलोनियल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड एजुकेशन इन इंडिया. इंपैक्ट क्या रहा मैकॉले मिनट का? तो याद रखना, इंट्रोडक्शन कुछ इस तरह से लिखना कि भाई मैकॉले मिनट की वजह से एंग्लिसिस्ट वन द डिबेट, ओरिएंटलिस्ट लॉस्ट द डिबेट. इसके पहले की जो हमारी एजुकेशन थी वो मदरसा और पाठशाला सेंटर्ड थी, संस्कृत एंड अरबिक सेंटर्ड थी, फारसी सेंटर्ड थी. But Macaulay Minute completely changed it. Macaulay looked down upon India's education system, traditional education system. It looked down upon Sanskrit and Arabic and Persian. And it said that rather we should be educating Indians in English. We want to develop a class of Indians who are only Indian by blood, but by their taste. They should be Englishmen. This was his idea. अच्छा यह भी याद रखना, ये सब हम लोग डिस्कस करते हैं, तुमने पढ़ा होगा तो किया होगा आई एम श्योर कि यार क्या कहते हैं इनकी, मैकॉले मिनट बिलीव्ड इन डाउनवर्ड फिल्टरेशन थ्योरी. इन्होंने मास एजुकेशन की बात नहीं करी. इन्होंने कहा कि भाई लेट्स प्रिपेयर अ क्लास ऑफ ट्रांसलेटर्स एंड पेटी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स, जो हमारे लिए बाबूगिरी करेंगे और मासेस से बात करने में एक ट्रांसलेटर की भूमिका निभाएंगे कॉलोनियल स्टेट के लिए. इस पर्पस से मैकॉले मिनट आया था भाई. right? Because they needed Indians to do the lower level bureaucratic work. तो इस पे थोड़ा सा प्रकाश डालते हुए अगर तुम लिख पाओगे तो तुमने काम इसमें अपना कर लिया। अच्छा, इसका इंपैक्ट क्या हुआ? इसका इंपैक्ट हुआ, देखो कहीं ना कहीं इंपैक्ट क्या लिखोगे भाई? मैं कॉलम मिनट का इंपैक्ट क्या हुआ बता सकता है कोई मुझे? मैं कॉलम मिनट का इंपैक्ट क्या रहा? मैं कॉलम मिनट के बड़े इंपैक्ट अगर तुम देखोगे तो कहीं ना कहीं एक सबसे बड़ा अनइंटेंडेड कॉन्सिक्वेंस रहा, इसी को हाईलाइट करना है हमें। याद रखो केवल 10 नंबर का क्वेश्चन है, यू जस्ट हैव 150 वर्ड्स। तो तुम्हें क्या हाईलाइट करना होगा कि भाई इनका एक अनइंटेंडेड कॉन्सिक्वेंस रहा दैट इंडियंस वर एक्सपोज्ड टू द आइडियोलॉजीज ऑफ वेस्ट, नेशनलिज्म, इक्वालिटी, और इन सब से उनका जो एक्सपोजर हुआ, रिपब्लिकनिज्म, डेमोक्रेसी, दैट हैड अ ह्यूज इन्फ्लुएंस ऑन आवर फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल। तो ये एक उसका इंपैक्ट हुआ। अच्छा, इसका इंपैक्ट ये भी रहा कि अंग्रेजी का इंपॉर्टेंस बढ़ गया, धीरे धीरे यूनिवर्सिटीज एक्सेट्रा वर ओपन। तो इस तरह से तुम इसको भी बड़े आसानी से उत्तर दे सकते हो, ऐसा मुझे लगता है। दीज आर डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चंस। Any serious aspirant, I believe, should have been able to crack these two questions. तीसरा भी देखते हैं, आओ जरा सा क्वेश्चन, ये भी 10 नंबर का है, ये मॉडर्न इंडिया से। अगेन एन एक्सपेक्टेड टॉपिक, जिससे आपको मालूम है कि आएंगे साल दर साल क्वेश्चन। गांधीयन मूवमेंट, ये हमसे कह रहे हैं कि द सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ द गांधीयन मूवमेंट्स ले इन द मासेस दे मोबिलाइज्ड, एल्यूसिडेट। अगेन प्रीटी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड, हमें मालूम है क्या है भाई, इंडियन फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल में जब तक एक्सट्रीमिस्ट और मॉडरेट्स थे, till that time we know that Indian freedom, Indian national movement was elitist in nature. एक हमें मालूम है ना कि शुरुआती जो अर्ली मेंबरशिप थी कांग्रेस की, उसमें अधिकतर तो लॉयर्स और लैंडलॉर्ड्स थे। Dufferin calls them a microscopic minority. So they were just elites. They pretended that they represent the entire India. They pretended that they know the entire India. But they were not able to really raise the issue of masses, neither peasants nor workers. वो नहीं कर पा रहे थे, isn't it? How to remember history? You don't need to remember history. That's the biggest myth out there, बेटा। हिस्ट्री याद कर ही नहीं सकता कोई, से आप थोड़ा समझ सकते हो, है ना? तो बस यही कोशिश करो कि उसको थोड़ा सा एक दो बार रिवीजन करो, कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट समझ लो और अपनी पसंद से कुछ कुछ डेट्स और डेटा याद कर लो, राइट? बाकी और तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते यार, तुम याद नहीं कर सकता कोई हिस्ट्री। नोबडी कैन रिमेंबर हिस्ट्री। ह्यूमंस डेफिनेटली कैन नॉट रिमेंबर हिस्ट्री। सो एज आई वाज टेलिंग यू, तो भाई गांधीयन मूवमेंट जैसा मैं तुम्हें बता रहा था, इसके पहले काफी एलिटिस्ट था हमारा मूवमेंट। गांधी जी जब आए चंपारण, किसानों को जोड़ना शुरू किया, अहमदाबाद मिल स्ट्राइक, राइट? अहमदाबाद मिल स्ट्राइक, वर्कर्स को जोड़ना शुरू किया अपने साथ। फिर धीरे धीरे हम देखते हैं नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट में उनके संग तमाम स्टूडेंट्स जुड़ते चले गए। ग्रेजुअली वो रूरल हिंटरलैंड को उन्होंने नेशनल मूवमेंट से जोड़ा। तो ये जो लगातार एक मोर एंड मोर मासेस वर गेट इन्वॉल्व्ड ड्यू टू दीज गांधीयन मूवमेंट्स, उनके बारे में हमें लिखना है, ठीक है? और मुझे लगता है कि इसको इस तरह से तुम अगर टैकल करोगे तो तुम्हें अच्छे नंबर मिल सकते हैं, ठीक है? तो ये थे 3 सेक्शन ए के क्वेश्चन, ठीक है? यहां पर थोड़ा सा मैप भी बना सकते हो, राइट? यहां पर मे बी एक टेबल टाइप का कुछ बनाया जा सकता है, मुझे लगता है। और यहां पर एक क्रोनोलॉजिकल फ्रेमवर्क दे सकते हो कि भाई देखिए ये 1919 में ये हुआ, फिर 1920 में ये हुआ, फिर 1930 में ये हुआ, फिर 1942 में ये हुआ। इस तरह से भी कुछ कुछ किया जा सकता है। थोड़ा सा प्रेजेंटेशन भी अच्छा रखना होगा यार, अपने इंट्रोडक्शन और कंक्लूजन पे मुझे उम्मीद है तुम मेहनत कर रहे हो। देखो आज हम लोग केवल फर्स्ट रिएक्शन टाइप है यार ये वीडियो ना, हम एक एक क्वेश्चन लिख के नहीं देख रहे हैं साथ में, ओके। बट हाँ, इस तरह से तुम अच्छे से अटेम्प्ट इसको कर सकते हो, ऐसा मुझे लग रहा है। ठीक है, अब आओ जरा सा हम चल रहे हैं सेक्शन बी की तरफ। अब है तुम्हारे सामने 15 मार्क्स के 3 क्वेश्चंस। नाउ वी हैव टू राइट इन 250 वर्ड लिमिट, तो यहां पे अपने पास थोड़ा ज्यादा स्कोप है। हमें इंट्रोडक्शन पे, उसके आंसर के डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स पे थोड़ा ज्यादा फोकस करना होगा। यहां पर क्वेश्चंस आओ देखते हैं। यहां देखोगे तो तुम 2 पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस के हैं, एक मेडिवल इंडिया का है। लोग अक्सर ऐसे बोलते हैं कि अरे मेडिवल इंडिया से नहीं पूछता है यूपीएससी, मेंस में नहीं पूछता है यूपीएससी मेडिवल इंडिया से, लोग कहते हैं। मैंने सुना है लोग ये भी कहते हैं कि पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस से ज्यादा नहीं आ रहे, वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री से अब की बार नहीं आया, और मेडिवल इंडिया से 15 मार्क का एक क्वेश्चन और पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस से 15 मार्क के 2 क्वेश्चन आए हैं। थैंकफुली मेरा ऐसा मानना है, यू कैन डिसएग्री, कि ये क्वेश्चंस मैनेजेबल है। पहला देखते हैं आओ। विजयनगर आर्किटेक्चर exemplifies the amalgamation of past traditions with contemporary practices, elucidate with example। मतलब ये कहना चाह रहे हैं कि विजयनगर आर्किटेक्चर में तुम्हें एमलगमेशन मिलता है। एमलगमेशन समझते हो ना, मिक्सचर मिलता है, मिल के साथ में बनता है विजयनगर आर्किटेक्चर। किसके मिलने से बनता है? पास्ट ट्रेडिशन, मतलब विजयनगर के पहले के जो ट्रेडिशन थे, जैसे कि कौन सी ट्रेडिशन की बात हो रही है? क्या कोई दिमाग में आ रहा है तुम्हारे? प्रद्युमन, कैन यू थिंक ऑफ एनीथिंग? विजयनगर से पहले कौन से आर्किटेक्चरल ट्रेडिशंस थे उस रीजन के? ये वाले द्रविडियन, चालुक्यन, या वेसर जिसे कहते हैं, है ना, इन दोनों से वो प्रभावित हुआ। वो चोल, द्रविडियन में जो चोल डेवलपमेंट्स थी उनसे प्रभावित हुआ। तो पास्ट ट्रेडिशंस थे, जैसे चोला टेम्पल्स में जैसे क्या होता था भाई, चोल टेम्पल्स की जो वोकैबुलरी थी, जो एलिमेंट्स थे, जैसे कि विमान, मंडपम, गोपुरम, ये सारे के सारे तुम्हें यहां पर भी मिलेंगे विजयनगर में। तो पास्ट ट्रेडिशन का भी अमलगमेशन था और कॉन्टेम्परेरी प्रैक्टिसेस। कॉन्टेम्परेरी प्रैक्टिसेस का मतलब क्या हो गया? जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल हमें बताया जा रहा है कि विजयनगर ने मतलब विजयनगर आर्किटेक्चर में महानवामी टिब्बा बनाया गया। महानवामी टिब्बा विच वॉज लाइक अ स्टेयर्ड प्लेटफॉर्म, इंपीरियल प्लेटफॉर्म, जहां से खड़े होकर के राजा परेड और झांकियां देखता था। तो ये कॉन्टेम्परेरी प्रैक्टिस है जिससे उनका आर्किटेक्चर निकल के आ रहा है। यू गेट माई पॉइंट हियर, राइट? फिर देखो जो इनका नेबर था बहमनी और डेक्कनी सल्तनत, उनका जो आर्कुएट आर्किटेक्चर था, यू नो, आर्चेस, डोम्स और मीनारेट वाला आर्किटेक्चर, वो भी विजयनगर आर्किटेक्चर को इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहा है। खासतौर पे विजयनगर के सेक्युलर आर्किटेक्चर को इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहा है वो, isn't it? तो यहां पर हमें ये बात ध्यान से रखनी होगी। गर्भगृह, गर्भगृह, you know, they used all those elements of Dravidian and Chalukyan architecture, Chol architecture, Pandyan architecture, और उसमें कॉन्टेम्पररी प्रैक्टिसेस जो उनको मिली बहमनी से या अपनी खुद की प्रैक्टिसेस से, जैसे कल्याण मंडप इन्होंने बनाया, ये भी कॉन्टेम्पररी प्रैक्टिस का एग्जाम्पल है। और यहां पर तुम्हें थोड़ा सा एग्जाम्पल देना होगा इनके मंदिरों का। 2-3 मंदिर तो विजयनगर आर्किटेक्चर के हमको याद करने पड़ेंगे यार। प्रद्युमन, यू आर राइट, आई अंडरस्टैंड, थोड़ा कठिन होता है याद करना, बट 2-3 रिविजन में याद होने लगता है यार। 2-3 रिविजन में कुछ कुछ याद होने लगेंगे तुम्हें भाई, है ना। तो 2-3 मंदिर जैसे कि विट्ठल स्वामी टेम्पल, हजारा रामा टेम्पल, विरूपाक्ष टेम्पल, ये तो मालूम होने ही चाहिए यार, ताकि हम आंसर में मेंशन कर पाए कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ। ठीक है भाई, तो ये था तुम्हारा विजयनगर आर्किटेक्चर का भी प्रश्न। मुझे लगता है कि तुम लोगों ने, जिन लोगों ने जरा सा भी मेहनत से पढ़ाई करी होगी, दे वुड हैव बीन वेरी हैप्पी टू लुक एट हिस्ट्री क्वेश्चंस। आओ पांचवा क्वेश्चन और छठा क्वेश्चन भी देखते हैं, ये पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस से है। आओ इसका भी बात कर लेते हैं। पांचवा क्वेश्चन कह रहा है linguistic reorganization of Indian states was driven by popular pressure from below. Comment. मतलब जो भाषा के आधार पे राज्य बने, उसकी प्राइमरी वजह ऊपर से बनाया कानून नहीं था, बल्कि नीचे से लाया गया, नीचे से डाला गया पब्लिक प्रेशर था। ये भी तुम आंसर आराम से लिख सकते हो। लिंग्विस्टिक रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज अ वेरी वेल अंडरस्टूड टॉपिक। इसको हम लोग अच्छे से पढ़ाते हैं, ठीक है ना। तो इसमें तुम्हें कुछ इस तरह की बातें करनी होंगी। देखो क्या क्या डालना होगा तुम्हें, जरा से समझो। तुम्हें बताना होगा कि पहले इंडिपेंडेंस के पहले तक सभी बड़े बड़े नेता, कांग्रेस, एवरीबॉडी अग्रीड ऑन लिंग्विस्टिक रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन कि भाई प्रदेशों को लैंग्वेज के आधार पर बनाना चाहिए। लेकिन फिर जब पार्टीशन हुआ तब फिर लोगों को लगा कि यार नहीं यार, ये तो गड़बड़ हो रहा है, लेट्स नॉट प्ले ऑन लिंग्विस्टिक आइडेंटिटी। हो सकता है इससे भी लोग फिर लोग पार्टीशन जैसी चीज मांगने लगे। तो जेवीपी कमेटी बनाई गई, उसने कहा कि नहीं अभी नहीं करेंगे लिंग्विस्टिक और रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन, बाद में देखेंगे। लेकिन फिर पोटी श्रीरामुलु आए और ये इनकी डेथ हो गई दिसंबर 1952 में। एंड देन यू नो कि भाई किस तरह से लोगों का वायलेंस शुरू हो गया और नेहरू जी को फाइनली अग्री करना पड़ा और 1953 में स्टेट ऑफ आंध्रा वाज एस्टैब्लिश्ड, इजंट इट। और इसके बाद बाकी जगह से और भी डिमांड उठ के आने लग गई। जब एक को भाई मिल गया तो बाकियों को हौसला मिला। और हमें बताया जा रहा है महा गुजरात मूवमेंट, संयुक्त महाराष्ट्र मूवमेंट, पंजाब सूबा आंदोलन, ये सब शुरू हो गए। तो ये इस तरह से पब्लिक प्रेशर बिल्ड होने लग गया। लेकिन याद रखो ये 15 मार्क का क्वेश्चन है, कमेंट करना है, थोड़ा सा अदर साइड भी दिखाने की कोशिश करना। यहां पर केवल ये मत कहना कि केवल प्रेशर फ्रॉम बिलो की वजह से ही नहीं हुआ था यार, और भी वजह थी। जो स्टेट रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन कमीशन बाद में नेहरू जी ने बनाया 1953 में, उसने ऐसा नहीं किया कि हर पॉपुलर डिमांड मान ली। नो, दे लुक्ड एट अदर एस्पेक्ट्स एज वेल, जैसे कि एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एफिशिएंसी और जैसे कि ज्योग्राफी, इकोनॉमी, इन सारी चीजों का भी ध्यान रखा गया। ठीक है। और यहां पर यह भी लिखना, एक एग्जाम्पल जो तुम दे सकते हो, फॉर एग्जाम्पल पंजाब को पहले नहीं बनाया जा रहा था, लेकिन जब एक्सटर्नल इवेंट्स ने भी हेल्प की लिंग्विस्टिक रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन को। कैसे? जब 1965 में इंडो पाक वॉर हुई तो पंजाबीज ने बहुत बहादुरी से सामना किया उस पूरे थ्रेट का, और दिस गेव पीपल दिस गेव गवर्नमेंट द कॉन्फिडेंस कि भाई पंजाबीज जो हैं उनको एक उनका सेपरेट स्टेट दिया जाना चाहिए, और 66 में दिया गया। तो लिंग्विस्टिक रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन, यस, पब्लिक प्रेशर फ्रॉम बिलो वाज अ मेजर एलिमेंट, yet there were other aspects to it as well. ऐसे करके अगर तुमने 3-4 एग्जाम्पल दे दिए तो मुझे लगता है कि तुम बड़े मजे से इसमें भी अच्छे नंबर लेकर के आ सकते हो। क्यों प्रियंका, है बात सही कि नहीं? है ना? ठीक है, चलो आओ लास्ट क्वेश्चन जो हिस्ट्री का आया बेटा, और थोड़ा सा ऐसे भी देखते हैं। ये बात है कर रहा है, और अगर देखोगे तो कहीं ना कहीं यार ये पेपर जो है ना, इकोनॉमी से भी ये जो क्वेश्चन है ये केवल हिस्ट्री का ही नहीं है, ये इकोनॉमी का भी एस्पेक्ट। हम भी तुम्हें, हालांकि पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस में हम तुम्हें 5 ईयर प्लान्स पढ़ाते हैं, हम तुम्हें बताते हैं कि नेहरू ने मिक्स्ड इकोनॉमी शुरू करी, लेकिन उसमें कई सारे इंसाइट्स तुम्हें इकोनॉमी का टीचर भी देता है। और अगर तुमने वो भी पढ़ रखा है तो तुम इस आंसर को और अच्छा लिख लोगे। द पॉइंट इज कि अपने दिमाग से ये ब्लिंकर निकाल देना बेटा अब, कि ये हिस्ट्री का क्वेश्चन है तो ये हिस्ट्री के सिलेबस से आया है, नहीं। दे आर लुकिंग फॉर पीपल हु कैन मेक इंटरकनेक्शंस बिटवीन डिफरेंट पोर्शंस ऑफ सिलेबस। तो देखो वो इस तरह के प्रश्न देंगे तुम्हें धीरे धीरे, जहां पे तुम्हें हिस्ट्री और इकोनॉमी दोनों की अंडरस्टैंडिंग होगी, तभी तुम लिख पाओगे। देखो क्या है क्वेश्चन। द मॉडल ऑफ प्लान्ड इकोनॉमी वाज अडॉप्टेड इन इंडिया टू एड्रेस द रीजनल इम्बैलेंसेस लेफ्ट बिहाइंड बाय कॉलोनियल रूल कमेंट। कि मतलब भारत ने प्लान्ड इकोनॉमी को इसलिए शुरू किया क्योंकि इसकी वजह यह थी कि जो कॉलोनियल रूल था, कॉलोनियल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन था, उसने रीजनल इम्बैलेंसेस पैदा कर दिए थे। किए थे भाई, रीजनल इम्बैलेंसेस पैदा किए थे कि नहीं किए थे? सारी इंडस्ट्रीज जो थी वो बॉम्बे और ढाका जैसे शहरों में ही थी, वेस्ट में थी या ईस्ट में थी। जो हिंटरलैंड रूरल था वो बिल्कुल, वहां पे कोई डेवलपमेंट नहीं थी, वहां पे कोई इंडस्ट्रीज नहीं थी। तो रीजनल इंबैलेंस तो था कॉलोनियल में, कॉलोनियल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, कॉलोनियल रूल के समय। इन्होंने जो रेलवेज बनाई, वो रेलवेज इन्होंने इसलिए नहीं बनाई ये देख करके कि कहां का लोग कहां जाना चाहता है। इन्होंने इसलिए रेलवे बनाई कि किस इलाके के नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज लेके हमें पोर्ट पहुंचना है बात सही कि नहीं? तो ऑफ कोर्स दीज काइंड ऑफ बिकॉज दे वर डूइंग एवरीथिंग फॉर देयर बेनिफिट, देयर वाज नो बेनेवलेंट एक्शन ऑन देयर पार्ट। तो अपने बेनिफिट के लिए कर रहे थे, तो जाहिर सी बात है उससे रीजनल इंबैलेंसेस बहुत सारे थे। और इसकी ये एक वजह बनी कि हमें प्लान्ड इकोनॉमी, देखो ना, जैसे तुम पढ़ते हो बॉम्बे प्लान पढ़ते होगे या नेशनल प्लानिंग कमिटी तुमने पढ़ी होगी मॉडर्न में। तो हम लोग प्लानिंग तभी से, हम लोग मतलब इंडिपेंडेंस के 10 साल पहले से ही हम सोच रहे थे कि हमें प्लानिंग करनी है, हमें सोशलिज्म की तरफ जाना है, हमें मिक्स्ड इकोनॉमी रखनी है। उसकी वजह कॉलोनियल इकोनॉमी थी, जिसकी वजह से रीजनल इंबैलेंस तो हुए ही हुए, और भी तो कई सारी चीजें हुई। स्ट्रक्चरल पॉवर्टी, भूखमरी, मैन मेड फैमिन्स, तो ये सारी भी वजह थी। केवल रीजनल इंबैलेंस ही नहीं था, ये सारी भी वजहें थी। कॉज एक ही था इन सब का, कॉलोनियल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन। और इन वजहों से हमें प्लान्ड इकोनॉमी लेकर के आनी पड़ी। फर्स्ट 5 ईयर प्लान, सेकंड 5 ईयर प्लान, हम लोगों ने प्लान करके आगे बढ़ने की कोशिश करी। यहां पर तुम्हें कई सारी बातें जैसे डिस्कस कर सकते हो, जो जो तुम्हें उस समय याद आए वो यहां पे डिस्कस किया जा सकता है। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल भिलाई, दुर्गापुर, राउरकेला, अलग अलग देशों से मिलकर हम लोगों ने प्लान करके इनको एस्टैब्लिश किया, डैम्स बनाए, राइट? एंड ऑल दैट इज, दीज वर ऑल कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ प्लान्ड इकोनॉमी। Why did we choose planned economy? Because of the structural anomalies that were a result of colonial rule. Structural anomalies which included but not restricted to regional imbalance. समझ गए मेरी बात? यहां तक हम लोगों को समझ के लिखना होगा, तो हमारे ये 75 मार्क्स जो हैं, ये इसमें हम अच्छा स्कोर कर सकते हैं। अब मैं साहिल सर को इनवाइट करना चाहूंगा, जो आकर के तुम्हें ज्योग्राफी के क्वेश्चन से लड़ने का तरीका बताएंगे। टेक केयर।
थैंक यू अनंत सर। So friends, the questions of geography in GS paper 1 were almost on the expected lines. The nature of the question was from easy to moderate. So it means UPSC wants you to write answers to those questions. They were not difficult. They were not terms like which we don't know and we are unable to predict the probable answer. Most of the questions asked by the UPSC were directly from the standard books, NCRTs, and whatever that is going on in the current affairs. So if we look at the first question from geography section in GS paper 1, it is related to Fujiwara effect. If you just type this keyword Fujiwara effect and see the news on this particular section, so you will see so many news which have covered this particular topic related to merging of cyclones in the Bay of Bengal and in other parts of the tropical region. So this particular thing, this phenomena is frequently in news. That is the reason why UPSC has picked this particular topic. In recent past, this phenomena was also seen in case of Bay of Bengal. So two cyclones, they are coming closer enough that they are affecting each other, their intensity, their path. So this is related to the Fujiwara effect. Two cyclones, tropical cyclones coming together close enough that they are affecting their properties. So UPSC again has asked, so what would be the effect of this phenomena on the movement and intensity of the tropical cyclones? So in introduction, you can explain this particular phenomena, what is Fujiwara effect, like coming together of two tropical cyclones sufficient enough within a distance of 1400 to 1500 kilometers so that they start affecting their each other, their speed, their properties, etc. Now, UPSC in the second part has asked two words, their movement and the intensity. So in the answer, body part of the answer, you can create two separate heading, effects on the movement and effects on the intensity, and write the different points under the heading. For example, effect on the movement. For example, two cyclones, they might merge with each other, or two cyclones, they start moving in arbitrary directions, because if we talk about the tropical cyclones, we know they are being created in the tropical region, and under the influence of trade winds, they generally move from east to west direction. But because of this phenomena, two cyclones, they are affecting their movement, their intensity, so they might distract from the observable or whatever predictable path of their, so that there will be difficulty in predicting their landfall, and it is creating a lot of problem. So this way you can write something on the movement of the tropical cyclones, and on the basis of, on the second heading, that is intensity of the cyclone. So effects on intensity would be the heading. Under intensity, you can mention that if two cyclones are coming together, they might merge with each other, or what will happen, they might decrease their speed, the speed of the wind or intensity of each other, or they might create such conditions which can intensify both the cyclones as well. So this way you can create different subheadings under the main heading, intensity of the cyclones. So this way you can attempt this particular question. Generally not in the standard books, but it is very, very frequently mentioned in the news. Quite easy topic if you just know the meaning of this term Fujiwara effect. Now, if we come to the second question from geography, it is related to tundra regions. So UPSC is saying tundra regions are ecologically fragile and economically important. Examine this particular statement critically. So in the introduction, you can explain the meaning of the tundra regions, where they are found, what are their characteristics, etc. In the body part, we have to cover two different subheadings. First is related to why tundra regions are ecologically fragile. So you have to cover different aspects, like because tundra region means a lot of cold is there, the growing season is very, very short, vegetation is limited, whatever food chains are there, they are very simple. So if there is any drastic effect in such regions, there will be very, very harmful effect on the ecology of such regions. So this way you can cover different aspects under the why the tundra region is very ecologically fragile. Now the second thing UPSC is asking, almost contradictory to the first aspect, why they are economically important. Why they are economically important? For example, you talk about the Arctic region. Most of it comes under the tundra region. Now, countries surrounding the Arctic region, they are fighting with each other. Why? Because a lot of natural resources in terms of fossil fuels are there. So they are important because of the many, many natural resources, especially the crude oil and natural gas is there. Then there are many other mineral related resources are there. Then why they are economically important? Because they are located in very harsh areas and they are affecting the climate and other aspects of the world as a whole. So they are important economically under the heading scientifically economic aspect. So they are important not only from the point of view of just economy, but also from the point of view of science related aspects as well. Because if you predict, for example, the effect of such regions on the creation or intensification of the monsoon, and monsoon is in turn economically affects huge parts of India as well as of the world. So this way you can cover this particular region under two different headings: ecologically fragile, why they are there, and secondly why they are economically important. But if you notice the question tag here, UPSC is asking you do it critically. So it means while covering some of the aspects under why they are ecologically fragile, then covering some aspects under why they are economically important, we have to balance our statements as well. So there should be a third heading in terms of way forward, or you can write something different, because though they are ecologically fragile, but they are economically important. So what should be the way forward because of these two aspects? That sure, they are ecologically fragile, but we need their resources for the development of those regions as well. For example, in tundra region, many indigenous communities are living. So we can't leave them. We can't, we need to integrate them to the mainstream culture as well. So under critically examination, we can write some aspects that okay, they are ecologically fragile because of these reasons, but we need them to integrate economically because of many availability of resources and other reasons. So what should be the approach? As obviously while preparing for the mains examination, you must have prepared some key terms like community-led development, like proper climate assessment, and so many things are there. That development should be there, but there should be some limitation, there should be some sort of watch over those activities should be there. So this way, under this particular topic, though it is asked as a 150-word answer, but there are different headings which you need to cover to get the sufficient marks. Now, if you move to the third question, it is a typical static question. The question is saying, discuss the role of aeolian processes in the desertification and land degradation. So, if you have read the NCRTs, there is a whole chapter related to landforms, different types of processes mentioned, fluvial, then glacial, and one of the processes was aeolian. So, in the introduction, you can define what is aeolian process, where this process is more active, what are its characteristics, what are the agents of erosion. Obviously, aeolian means it is related to the wind. Now, what are its effects on processes, role of this process in desertification and land degradation. So quite straightforward question. What this is causing, it is increasing the desert areas extent to the neighboring states. It is creating loss of vegetation in the semi-arid regions. Then because vegetation is losing, what will happen? The land will be exposed, so there will be more land degradation, so more problems would be there. So kind of vicious cycle is there. So this particular question, quite straightforward. Aeolian process, in the introduction you can mention the definition, characteristics, and in the body part you can explain different aspects how aeolian processes are creating desertification and other land degradation related problems. So it is a kind of static question, more of a static question, whereas first question is related to the current affairs. Second, semi-current affairs, semi-static question, because tundra region, especially the Arctic region, that is in news quite frequently because ice is melting, new routes are being opened, and Arctic states are there which want to use those routes, which want to utilize those resources. So that is perhaps why UPSC might have asked such a question. So if we move to the, now if we move to the next question, it is related to water resources. You know, in the recent past, especially after the Pulwama attack, there are so many problems between India and Pakistan. Again, if we move to the India-Nepal relationship, Nepal is using different maps and creating problems with India. And if you notice, in those maps, the problem is again related to the source of a river. Again, with Nepal and Bhutan, we are sharing so many rivers. So again, there are issues related to how to utilize the water of those rivers. China is building a huge dam on Brahmaputra, and we have many states which are directly, indirectly dependent on the water of the Brahmaputra river. Besides, Brahmaputra river can also be used as a weapon for the war in case there is any problem in future with China as well. Again, if you look at India-Bangladesh relationship, Tista river is always in news, how to demarcate the water of the Tista river. So quite easy question, you have lot to write, but the main thing is how to concise all this content within 150 words. Besides, we should not forget to mention the problems within India as well, because we have many interstate disputes in India as well. So this way you can attempt quite straightforward question in current affairs also, and you will see the answers of water resources related thing in the main standard textbooks as well. If we move to the next question, again a typical static question. UPSC has asked to compare 3 different types of local winds, Lu, Chinook and Fawn, with respect to what are regions they are prevalent, what is their nature and their climate impact. So a typical static question is available in most of the standard books. So, in mains examination, it is generally considered better if you create innovations, you create some sort of differences in your answer. So because these are the questions which you can write in paragraph or in point-wise manner, but this is the question where you can actually draw a table, you can write the names of different winds, and you can compare their properties under different headings. So UPSC has already guided you by giving the regions they are prevalent, their nature, their climate impact. So you can take these broad headings, or you can subdivide these headings further and create. For example, in case of climatic impacts, you can subdivide it as impacts on agriculture, impacts on local communities, then impact on any climatic related hazards if they are there. Plus, because it is a geography question, it would be better if you draw some sort of diagram, integrate some sort of diagram here within the table itself, very small diagrams that Chinook, it is a kind of continental wind, whereas, Lu is a continental wind, whereas Chinook and Fawn, these are the winds related to the mountain on the lee side of the mountains. So this way you can write answer to this question. UPSC has given you sufficient room, 250 words to write answer to this question. So this is more related to the static part of the geography. If we see the next question, the role of satellite-based technologies in achieving climate-smart agriculture and food security in India. So again, in the introduction, you have the keywords like what are satellite-based technologies, or you can use this keyword with this another keyword like climate-smart agriculture. So you can create an introduction using words like climate-smart agriculture, its meaning, or you can integrate climate-smart agriculture with the satellite-based technologies, the different type of satellite-based technologies. So this way you can start your answer, and then you have to analyze its role under 2 different headings. How these satellite-based technologies can help create climate-smart agriculture, and secondly, how they can help us in the food security in India. So a little bit, this question is more focused on the current affairs, and you are reading so many such things like use of satellites and other such technologies, their applications as a part of GS paper 3 under science and tech as well. So you have lot to write how these technologies can help us to predict what is the acreage of the different crops are there, in which season, how much amount of different crops are going to, we are going to have. Now, if there is any climatic hazard, impact of some insects is there, then how much of crops have been destroyed. Then, if you need to move crops or especially horticulture, fruits and vegetables from one part to other, or distribute, how you can take the help of these technologies. So basically you have to write different aspects, like first how we can increase our food production, secondly what is the current acreage under different types of crops, under fruits and vegetables, and so that we can plan accordingly. Now again, if there is any kind of climatic hazard that has occurred, some cyclone or some attack of the pests, then how much crops have been destroyed. Then we have different schemes to help the farmers, like what type of soil moisture is there, what type of nutrients are there in the soil. So with the help of these technology, we can actually create some sort of conditions whereby we are not only increasing the production of the food, plus we are decreasing the climatic effect, environmental effects of the food production, and simultaneously decreasing their harmful effects on nature, like methane emissions or global warming related problems or pollution that is coming from the agriculture sector, and at the same time securing the food security in India. So a mix of geography plus science and tech question. If you are reading the previous year question, you will notice UPSC has repeatedly used this particular theme. Recently, UPSC asked a question on what is Zuno mission and what are its importance, why we are doing this particular mission. So satellite related technologies, their effects, their impacts, whatever current affairs that are going on under this particular theme, UPSC has repeatedly asked questions. So for next year examination, keep track of the current affairs, especially related to the science and tech. Now, next question is related to, somewhat related to, mixture of international relations, economy, as well as geography. So next question is, the center of global trade is gradually shifting from the Atlantic region to the Indo-Pacific region. Examine this statement. So again, you have a lot of room. You can use some of the parts from the economy. So many organizations, you will see Quad is developing, other organizations are coming up which are specifically targeting the Indo-Pacific region. So you can use the geography related aspect, you can use the economy related aspects. Under economy, you can write, one of the some of the most populous countries are there, most of the world's young population is there, creating a lot of economic opportunities. Then such regions, they are they are providing huge markets. China, the economic powerhouse in this particular region. Now most of the economic activities are shifting in this particular region. Geographically, it is very sensitive. Why? Because of the China-Taiwan issue, Malacca state is there. So you can write the answer to this particular question under different aspects. Economy, under geography, under international relations. You have plenty of room to explain this particular question. So when we will do the deep analysis, what should be the structure of the answer, you can write in the introduction, what should be the points in the body part, what should be the different headings. We'll do that later. This is just kind of introduction regarding this particular paper. So we will do that later, but for the time being, this is how you should attempt this question. Again, it is a kind of easy to moderate question. UPSC wants you to write answer to such question. Finally, we have a question on major drivers of human-induced land use changes in India and their geographical consequences. So again, there are two keywords. What are the major reasons for the land use changes, especially related to the humans? And secondly, what are their geographical consequences? So after writing a good introduction, you have to write two different subheadings in the body part. Human-induced land use changes, their causes, and finally their geographical consequences. So what are the reasons of the human-induced land use changes? Major reasons are human population is increasing. So more and more, the barren lands, the agriculture, the forest land, such lands or the common property resources like grasslands are there. They are being occupied by the increasing population to increase more food for the growing population. So what major changes are going on? Agricultural land is increasing at the cost of other type of land use patterns. Then if you come to the urban areas are expanding at the cost of the agriculture land in the surrounding rural regions. So there the fertile land is decreasing because of the rising population, whereas in the marginal areas, whatever marginal land is there, the forests are there, they are decreasing at the cost of agriculture. So this way you can write different aspects why the human related land use changes are going on. Now what are their consequences? So if you are decreasing the common lands like grasslands, like forest areas, so they will have a lot of problems related to climate change. They have effects in, for example, if land use change is such that the flood plains are being occupied for construction, legal or illegal, what will happen? The intensity of the floods will be more, there will be more destruction. So this way you can cover these aspects under the question. So in this case, you must have two different headings. UPSC has given you the hints. First should be what are the causes of human related land use changes, and finally their geographical consequences. So if you look at these 8 questions, first of all, every year, last year itself, UPSC has asked 9 questions in the GS paper 1 from geography. Again, UPSC has maintained the trend, almost 8 questions are from the geography. If you talk about role of current affairs, as is the case with UPSC for the past many years, the role of current affairs is very, very important. So whatever you are preparing as a part of your static knowledge, keep it complementing with whatever happening related to those topics in the current affairs. So role of current affairs is very, very important. Third, the nature of the questions is easy to moderate. We have seen many, many direct questions like on local winds, like on water resources, Fujiwara effect, quite frequently in news. Recently it was in news related to Bay of Bengal as well. So the nature of question was doable. UPSC wants you to write answers to these questions. So again, as we teach the students that in mains examination, the question is not related to how much knowledge you have, but whatever knowledge you have, how you can use that knowledge to actually write better answers in the defining time period. That is the main competition here. So for future examination related to geography, prepare your concepts well. Again, resources are same, NCERTs plus 1 standard textbook. Secondly, complement these resources with whatever going on in case in the current affairs aspect. So this is the strategy for future. Now, very important section is there related to Indian society. I would request Dr. Suresh sir, please come and discuss Indian society related aspect with you. Sir.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Okay, just a minute. So, friends, welcome back and welcome back to Society section of GS Paper 1. So, friends, if you see from the GS Paper 1 section, Society and Social Issues forms one of the important section. So, in UPSC 2026 paper also, Society section has maintained its significance and importance as usual from the past 4-5 years. So, if we just see from the Society section, so there were total of 6 questions. 3 questions from 10 marker section and 3 questions from 15 marker section. So total like 30 plus 45, it is 75 marks. This is the weightage of that particular section. Now, if we look into the basic nature of the questions, how they have been asked, so just have a look at the first question. So look at the first question. It is, unity in diversity remains the defining feature of Indian society, despite the challenges from communalism and regionalism. So comment. So this is the question. So friends, this is a question which has been picked from the salient features of Indian society section. So you can see that in the syllabus of society, salient features of Indian society is one of the important topic in which unity in diversity and what are the various factors that affect the unity in diversity. This is one of the important topic. So question has been picked and given directly from that particular section. So if you would have understood the basic aspects about the Indian society and salient features, so most of you can write answers for this particular question. And the question is straightforwarded question, and it's a direct question from the syllabus. So what you have to do in this particular question, so just in the introductory section, basically you have to write that what is unity in diversity, and you introduce it as one of the defining feature or salient feature. That means Indian society is made up of various features, so amongst which, so unity in diversity is one of such defining feature, where unity basically refers to unity with uniformity and without uniformity, and diversity without fragmentation. So define what is unity. Unity means a sense of oneness. Unity means a sense of we-ness. Unity means integration. So like this you can use the basic introductory lines, and you can say diversity basically refers to the differences rather than inequalities. So this kind of things you can say. And finally you can introduce it as, say, unity in diversity is one of the distinguishing feature or salient feature of Indian society. That's what. And then you can say that in the body portion of the answer, you can use two things. Say, the unity in diversity in India is facing so many challenges, or there are various factors that affect or that are threatening the unity in diversity. Say, regionalism, say, communalism, say, there are so many issues. So we can just mention all those factors that are threatening the unity in diversity. And there you can just mention an account of them. And then you can say, despite of having these many challenges, there are some of the unifying factors. So factors that are upholding the unity in diversity in India. So you can just mention various factors, like say constitutional unity, or you can say economic integration, or you can say like there are so many aspects, geographical unity, or in different aspects you can pitch it and you can just mention in that way. And finally you can conclude that, so the factors that affect are not actually changing, or they are responsible for changes in this particular feature. Rather you can say that the unifying factors outweighs the challenges. So that's why, so unity in diversity remains the defining feature of the Indian society. So that is how in a basic manner you can just write this. So in introduction you can say what is unity and integrity, and you can introduce it is as a salient feature. And in conclusion you can say that, so the factors overweigh the challenges. That's why this is existing. So this is one of the important question that you can see from the paper one point of view. Then look at the second question. The second question is, how do you understand the disability and substantiate the need for an inclusive policy framework in India in this regard? So this is the next question. Say, this question has been picked from the welfare schemes for the vulnerable sections and persons with disabilities. This is the context from where the question has been picked. So in introduction, you can just start directly with defining the term disability, because the question is picking and it's been picked from that particular thing. So where you can say what disability is. So you can make use of the rights persons with the Disabilities Acts to 2016, and there which is said that disability basically refers to, it's a condition of social, psychological or mental impairment with respect to the qualities. So that's where you can say disability refers to that according to the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act. And then you can just explain. And then in the body portion you can say that there is an imminent need for making an inclusive policy framework. So give reasons for why it requires, say like for bringing them into mainstream life, or providing equal opportunities amongst them, or for fostering equality in Indian society. So that's how you can just pitch some of the important points. So you can just say that there is an imminent need for the framing the inclusive framework for the people with disabilities. That is one important aspect. So we have the Rights of the Persons with Disabilities Act. So still we need to have a lot of things that has to be done from the perspective of the disabled sections, which are known as the specially abled persons. So this is another important question. Okay. Then the next question is that, do you think the digital technology promotes the social empowerment? Explain with examples. This is the third question. So this question is again a way to say direct question from the syllabus. In syllabus you can see a word social empowerment. So from there the question has been picked. And if you systematically address this answer, in the introduction you can basically define what is social empowerment. So social empowerment means basically it's in a way to uplift or in a way to just provide equal opportunities for all the sections with respect to political, social, political, economic and all the realms, educational and healthcare, all the realms. So that's how you can just define what is social empowerment, and in the connecting paragraph you can say there are various ways in which the social empowerment can be achieved. So one of the important modality is, say one of the important tool to achieve social empowerment is the digital technology. You can say like that. And then you can say role of digital technology in social empowerment, where you can use so many examples. Say in financial realm, you can say the social empowerment is getting achieved, is being achieved with the help of so many social media apps. Say for example UPI. You can take up an example of UPI and Aadhaar. So this is one digital technology. So as of now you go to any vendor, so every vendor, every person, be it could be illiterate or literate, so they will have this UPI and they are taking the transactions from that. That means it's an example for social empowerment because the people have got that opportunities to enjoy it. Can you able to catch that? And in the same way, say try to quote some other things, say in the education sector. So digital technology is doing a lot of things. So we have so many online platforms that are available which are helping in education sector. And in the realm of healthcare, so still there are so many, say, telemedicine or tele-consultancy or like say on-call consultancy. So these kind of things, so they are helping in the healthcare sector. So like that, pick that kind of examples in the social realm, in the political realm, in the economic realm, in the financial realm, in the other realms. So try to mention. So use adequate examples such as this. Say in the social realm if we talk, say there is a lot of social awareness amongst the people. Say what about this Me Too movement? So Me Too movement was a kind of feministic movement that was had origin in Europe. So then it entered into India through the digital mode only. So digital technology led or gave this kind of access. So social empowerment can be achieved with the help of digital technology. So in the conclusion, you can simply say that there are so many other tools which can favor the social empowerment and give such examples. So this is where, so you can just conclude this particular answer. So I hope you are getting this particular thing. So all these three questions, so be it could be the first or second or third, so all of them are the direct and straightforward questions. There is no subjectivity and there is no application and there is no much opinion based questions. So they are simple straightforward questions. So if you have basic knowledge of the UPSC syllabus and if you have handwritten notes on each and every word mentioned in the syllabus, so friends, most of you can or most of you could write the answers for these particular questions. Now let's move to the next set of questions. So if you see in the next set of questions, look at the first question, first 15 marker question. It is caste disappearing in urban India? Illustrate your answer with examples. This is a 15 marker question. So what's happening in India, in urban India? In urban India, caste is not getting disappeared. Rather what we can say, caste is assuming new identities. It's changing. It's a kind of dynamic aspect. So where in introduction you can say what is caste or what is caste system. You can introduce it as say caste is a social group and caste system is a system of social stratification in India. And it's a kind of, you can say, a deeply entrenched and deeply ingrained thing in the minds of the people. So that's how you can just introduce. And then in the next phase or in the body portion, you can say that, so caste, what kind of changes we have got in the urban India. Say, there are no much to say the negative externalities of the caste system in the urban society. Say for example, untouchability untouchability is no more existing, or like say it's not majorly manifested in the urban portion of the India, or say manual scavenging, it's one of the manifestation or one of the feature of the caste system. Now this is like mostly this has got faded away. So we have taken so many progressive legislations and so many initiatives to just overcome this. So I hope you can understand that. So mention that like caste system in the urban India, it is taking new shapes. So what kind of new shapes, or it is taking new identities, means here like caste based associations or caste based organizations are getting developed in India. Say for example Nadar Mahajan Sangh or Maratha Mahasabha, or like say there are so many caste groups, caste associations and caste things that are being formed, and it is not being erased from India, or it is not being disappearing from the urban locality, rather it is assuming new identities. Friends, if you just have you gone through the PYQs, then if you would have gone through PYQs, then you could have answered this particular question again, because the previous year also in one of the previous year question was also that caste is assuming new identities in India. So this was one question. So this is where, so this question has been picked from the salient features of Indian society and from the caste system point of view. So this is how one question has been asked. It is also a direct question. So then look at the next question, the fifth question. Critically examine the challenges of demographic transition in contemporary India. So first and foremost thing you have to have clarity is that this particular question has been picked and asked from population and associated issues topic, which is one of the important topic in Indian society. And there they have picked the demographic transition. So if you could have gone through the basic things, demographic transition. So India is as of now witnessing a kind of severe demographic transition, where we have the concept of demographic dividend is there. So demographic transition means like the nature of the sections, like it is getting population, the age sections, this is getting changed. So here demographic dividend is something that is the phase that India is experiencing. That means the share or the concentration of the people or working age people is more in India, where the average median age of the Indian society at present by 2026 is around something, so 27 or 28, so which is very, very less when compared with the Japan, when compared with the other nations. So that's where we can have one of the best advantage. But this demographic transition, that means like change in the nature of the people of various sections, it's posing a lot of challenges. What kind of challenges? Say for example, jobless growth. Growth is there, but jobless growth, that means majority of the youth are remained unemployed. So unemployment is one issue. So unemployment, along with unemployment, poverty is one issue. Along with poverty and unemployment, joblessness, that means jobless growth is one thing. And along with this, so the healthcare issues, along with that, like lot of issues that the contemporary India is going to be faced with this demographic transition. So systematically pick, so say as it is 15 marker question, so try to explain what is the demographic transition and then explain the challenges one, and then try to provide the way forward. So how can you overcome these particular challenges? So what to be done and what has been done. So you can just pitch this so that systematically you can just complete or cover up this particular question. So the next question, if you happen to see, this is evaluate the impact of globalization on India's youth with respect to or with reference to social, political, economic and cultural spheres or cultural and academic spheres. This is one 15 marker question. So friends, if you happen to see this question has been again picked from a direct section, globalization and its impact on various sections. So globalization, basically to say, it's a multi-dimensional phenomenon. It's increased interconnectedness, increased interaction, or increased integration of one part of the world with other part of the world. That is what globalization is all about. Now, when the local culture, when it gets integrated with the global cultures or global economies, then that is known as globalization. So in the very introduction, you can say, what is globalization? And then in the next connecting paragraph, you can say that globalization is a multidimensional phenomena which has had the impact over various sections of the Indian society. So where globalization impacts the women, globalization impacts the youth, globalization impacts the elderly, globalization impacts the child, so children. So you can mention all those things, and you can say that like globalization also impacts the youth in a profound way. And there, best thing what you can do is that you can systematically categorize that the impact of globalization on youth is both positive as well as negative. And there further you can say what are the positive impacts of globalization on the youth and what are the negative impacts of the globalization on youth. This is one thing that you can do. So where the positive impacts you can systematically categorize in the point of points. So say, for example, now youth are getting a lot of scope for education, access to education, access to healthcare facilities, access to employment opportunities. Say like now basic things like say work from home kind of opportunities. So all these kind of things are one of the outcomes of the globalization, where the negative impacts are also there. So due to globalization, what is happening? Say slowly the youth are getting disconnected with the native culture. Say they are getting under the influence of the Western culture or Westernization, and under the influence of modernization, so they are being changing all their cultural lifestyle. So you have to explain this in all the realms. So in the social realm, what kind of impact? In the political realm, what kind of impact? In the cultural realm, what kind of impact? In the economic realm or economic sphere, what kind of impact? So the question itself has been clearly asked without any subjectivity that mention all these four spheres. So you should mention them and you should explain that in this sphere, this is the positive impact, this is the negative impact. This is the positive impact, this is the negative impact. Like that, you can systematically explain the entire thing. So that's where the question has been asked from the globalization and its impact over various sections point of view. That is the syllabus section from where it has been asked. So this is how the questions in the Indian society section are, to say, in a way to say, easy to moderate. Easy to moderate means if you would have the basic understanding and the basic preparation with respect to your syllabus, words mentioned in the syllabus, you could have nailed it. So this year's paper is a kind of big boom to those who are appearing. And as the preliminary examination paper, it faced a lot of criticism that it was uncertain, it was too difficult, it was too tough, all those things. But the mains portion, if you see, strategically UPSC is giving you an advantage that, yes, if you would have passed the pre-stage, now in the main stage, we are giving you some advantage for you by giving the direct question. So this is where, friends, you can have, these are the questions that have been picked and asked in Indian society section, and I hope in geography section and in the history section also, the questions were straightforward in nature, and questions were simple, and questions were very mild applicative, and many questions were of direct in nature. So as I regularly say, and the bottom line of this discussion is that, so once again UPSC proved that go through the syllabus properly. Have a clear-cut conceptual understanding of the topics mentioned in the notification and try to apply this to the contextual understanding. So if there is any current affairs related thing, so integrate it with that. So then try to have a kind of integrated approach. The questions, if they have been asked from static point of view also you can write, you should be writing, and the dynamic questions also you should be writing. But here in this paper, most of the questions were static in nature with mild dynamicity. So that's where, friends, the paper is doable, the paper is so easy to moderate, and the questions are direct, straightforward with mild applicative in nature. So that's all for the day from our side. So keep watching, and we'll be coming up with the next sections: GS paper 2, GS paper 3, GS paper 4, and if possible, we'll be coming up with the optional papers also. So stay tuned with SRIRAM's IAS channel, and we'll meet again in the next session with next paper. Thank you all for joining with this session.